People with mild to moderate COVID-19 can now be treated with a drug that stops their condition from getting worse. Sotrovimab is described as a single-dose monoclonal antibody treatment. Now, the Health Sciences Authority has granted interim authorisation for the drug under the pandemic special access route. Sotrovimab is administered via an IV, and it's meant for patients who don't need supplemental oxygen but whose conditions are at risk of becoming severe. The US approved the use of the medication last month. And for more, we're joined by Dr. Michelle Horn. She's Country Medical Director at GSK Singapore. Dr. Horn, if you could, please explain to us what is a monoclonal antibody and how does it work in the body?
Sure. So I think, we all know that if we get an infection, our body has an immune response, which means that we develop our own antibodies, which go and bind to the virus in the tissues, but not only that, sort of activate the rest of the immune system to clear the infected cells. But that can take some time. And so what we are looking at here with the monoclonal antibodies, of which Sotrovimab is one, is a more immediate immune response where we provide the antibodies very much like the ones that your body would produce, which will then bind to the virus and help to clear the virus out of the tissues, but also help activate the immune system to clear the infected cells. And that's really important for those individuals who are, as an intervention for individuals with mild and moderate disease who may progress to severe disease, to be able to halt that progression and give them that option for early recovery.
And do we know how effective it is?
So monoclonal antibodies have been used various ones in the US, and recently we have been embarking on the Comet ICE trial, which recruited over 1,000 patients, and we were encouraged to see the results of the interim analysis, which showed a profound reduction in risk for those individuals who were on the treatment arm and at risk of progression, and it was in fact an 85% reduction in progression for those individuals to hospitalization and hospitalization or death, and that's really, really significant. And what we have noticed is, as the trial continues, because the trial's not yet complete, that these results are continuing in a similar trend. And it was based on these results, along with the safety results, which are also very important, that the HSA has made this decision to provide the interim authorization for Sotrovimab here in Singapore.
And Dr. Horn, what side effects have been observed, if any, in these trials, and who's most likely to experience them?
So through the clinical trial, we monitor very closely safety profiles because it's incredibly important to GSK for that. And what we've noticed is that most patients have had mild side effects which have been short-lived, and we have not seen any severe adverse events within the Comet ICE trial. Of course, it doesn't stop there. We will continue to work and partner with the HSA to make sure that we continue to monitor for any safety signals. But to date, we have not seen any severe adverse events in this particular clinical trial.
And how would Sotrovimab fit into the bigger picture then? The aim is for 2/3 of the people here fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
So I think vaccination is a key pillar when we're dealing with a pandemic, and I really applaud the Singapore government and Ministry of Health with their highly efficient rollout of vaccines to the broader population. But we know from experience that you can't just rely on vaccines altogether, because we know that there are individuals who may not be suitable to take vaccines. You might have individuals who don't have an adequate response, or we may see the development of variants or mutations, which would cause a problem. And so having an arsenal of really significant therapeutic options is always necessary for us to move from that pandemic to an endemic state where we can adequately manage any outbreaks as they happen. And we feel that monoclonal antibodies, and Sotrovimab in this case, would be a key weapon in that arsenal to really support the government in its steps to move us into an endemic future.
And Dr. Horn, thanks for speaking to us this evening. We've been speaking with Dr. Michelle Horn, Country Medical Director at GSK Singapore.